city, you know, usually the city, they have their own set of rules, their own ordinances, their own statutes, their own decrees.
Yeah.
Sometimes they align with Yah's word, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
You know, but the villagers, you know, they'll have all types of traditions and practices. And oftentimes those traditions and practices will not be in the will of Elohim for your life. And that's another thing that we have to look out for, that we have to fight against, that's in the land. You know, because all of us was in the world at one time, and all of us have been indoctrinated with those traditions and those practices of the villages around us. You know, it wasn't until I moved away to Las Vegas that I found out that, you know, everyone didn't keep the pagan holiday Sweetest Day. You know, I thought, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm over in Las Vegas. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm talking to somebody back home, and they're like, oh, Sweetest Day, you know, and I go around and you know, asking folks down there, hey, you know, Sweetest Day coming up, you know. They're like, huh? Who? What day? Valentine's Day is in February. I'm like, no, Sweetest Day.
No.
They had no clue of what I was talking about. See, but that's because they wasn't from the village I was from. You know, so you see the villagers, they have their own traditions, their own practices, you know, that we get indoctrinated with just because we grew up in that village, around those villagers. Amen? Amen. You know, but this is just what Yah was warning us of. You know, this is something else that is within our hearts, within the kingdom of Elohim, that we have to fight against. And then we have the Jebusites. And the Jebusites, I skipped the Hivites? Oh, the Hivites. Well, the Hivites means life-giving or living place. You know, and this is a big one. You know, because just what it says. Life-giving. Who gives you life? Your parents. Your living place. That's your very own household. So it went from the villagers to your very own house. You know, see, and sometimes, you know, within the land, you know, we're going to have traditions and practices of mom and dad that's going to contradict the way of Elohim. We're going to have those traditions and practices that we've learned in our very own households.
Yes.
That's going to contradict the word of Elohim. And it's going to be, that's a hard fight. That's a struggle, but we have to fight against that. We have to fight against that as well. See, that's something else that's going to be ingrained within the kingdom of Elohim, within our hearts, that we have to fight against. And the last one is the Jebusites. And the Jebusites speaks of, now that one got erased too, but I remember that one. Speaks of the threshing floor. The threshing floor, that's the harvest. You know. So again, dealing with our needs. You know, we have to struggle within that within in the land. You know, how many of you done got to the point where, you know, you're like, okay, well, you know, I got to eat, you know, because that's what the threshing floor is about. It's where your food and substance comes from. You know, I got to eat, so I got to do what I got to do. No, you have to do what Yah would have you do. Because Yahuwah Yireh, He's our provider. Amen? Amen. It's not Obadiah Yireh. It's not Lewis Yaira or Panthea Yaira. It's not GM Yaira or Ford Yaira.
Yeah.
Amen?
Amen.
It's Yahuwah Yaira. He's our provider. See, these are the things that we have to fight against, that we might dwell in peace within the land, within the kingdom of Elohim. That's big. Now, verse 2 says, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them, show them no mercy. See, this is the battle that we have to have to take place in our hearts. You know, we have to fight against this with all our being. You know, verse 5 says, but thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, break down their images, cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. Thou art an holy people unto Yahuwah thy Elohim. We are to let his word sanctify us. Yochanan 17:17 says, Yah was praying and he was asking that we be sanctified with Yah's truth. And he says, thy word is true.
Yes.
This is how we have to live our life, according to his word. You know, not according to reading his word. Not according to coming here every week and hearing his word.
Yes.
But according to the doing of his word.
Yes.
That's what it's about. That's where the rubber meets the road, y'all. You know, and he goes on to say, Yahuwah did not set his love upon you. And we know his love was the sacrifice of our Messiah. Amen? He did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. Selah. All right. Back to Hosea. See, now we understand how they got off track. So we also understand how we're to stay on track. How they got off track is, you know, teaches us how we're to stay on track. Amen?
Amen.
Yeah.
Hosea 9:6 says, for lo, they are gone because of destruction. Egypt shall gather them up. Memphis shall bury them in the pleasant places for the silver. Nettles shall possess them. Thorns shall be in their tabernacles. Now, it says, lo, they are gone because of destruction. This word destruction is showed number 7701 in the Hebrew, meaning desolation, destruction, oppression. Okay? Now, Revelation 13 through 17 says, and it speaks of that desolation. Even the abomination that causes desolation that Daniel the prophet spoke of. This is that desolation that's being spoken of here. And we're going to read about it in Revelation 13. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Speaking about the false prophet, this is. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. See, this will be that abomination of desolation that Daniel the prophet spoke of. This will be what will be set up, and the people will be compelled, if you would, deceived into taking the mark, worshiping the image, worshiping the beast. And we spoke about that. That's not for us. You know, we don't want that. It speaks of the pleasant places for their silver, you know, you know, everybody want a nice place. You know, they want a nice place to put their silver and their gold, you know. But Proverbs 10:20 says, the tongue of the justice is choice silver. The heart of the wicked is little worth. You know, and Yahushua taught us. He taught us that the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches and the lust of other things, you know, are as thorns and thistles. So these are the things that gets us in trouble. So we're to learn from what Israel that forgot their maker, what caused them to forget it. And it really all comes back to this. It comes back to those that were in the land before they got there. See? Because, you know, when there isn't any of us here that was born into salvation. We all had to choose it. We all had to choose to cut a covenant with Yahushua. Amen? Amen. Okay. I just told on myself. So, gave the answer, but where does the nettles and thorns come from, and what do they symbolize? You know, Numbers 33, 55 and 56 says, but if ye will not drive out the inhabitants of the land before you, then it shall come to pass that those which ye let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein ye dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do unto them. That's pretty strong, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Now, this is real big, because it says, you know, it's telling us the reason why. If you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which ye let remain, they're going to become pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and will vex you in the land of ye thereof. That means, you know, these Hittites, these Girgashites, these Amorites, these Canaanites, these Perizzites, these Hivites, these Jebusites, you know, that terror, that fear and confusion, that carnal living, that commerce, the peoples of your household, the peoples of your city, worrying about what you're going to eat, and what you're going to put on. These are the things that's going to be in your heart, that's going to make you stray from the way that leadeth unto life. That's going to cause you to forget who your maker is. Everybody with me? Yeah. Mark 4:19, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches and the lust of other things, these things will become thorns and thistles. You know, if you think about them, you know, you can see them in those inhabitants of the land. They're right there. You can see them. Because we're all trying to live up to this lifestyle that television done portrayed to us. You know, thinking that, you know, that's the quote-unquote American dream. Well, I advise you to stop dreaming and start dealing with reality. It's time to deal with reality. Hosea 9:7. The days of visitation are come. The days of recompense are come. Israel shall know it. You know, speaking of y'all coming back. It says the prophet is a fool. The spiritual man is mad for the multitude of thine iniquity and the great hatred. You ever experienced people being upset with you just because you're trying to do good? Yeah. Now you know there's nothing good but that of Elohim. But people will get upset with you because you're trying to do the things of Elohim. Because they don't see it the way you see it. That should be fine. Okay, you don't see it the way I see it, great. You do you. and let me do me. It shouldn't be no problem. Amen?
Amen.
But for some reason, they want to do you and them. You know, I always tell people, if you worry about your own business, you won't have time to worry about nobody else's. You know, but they want to correct your way.
Yes.
And it's okay if you want to tell somebody, you know, that's why I'm very careful not to push the faith down nobody's throat. You know, it's okay if you want to tell somebody, you want to point them in the right direction, but if they're adamant about going in their own direction, hey, who are you? You can't rule over them.
Right.
You know, even if they do try to rule over us, you know. See, but that's those Hivites. You know, those Hivites, they real good for that. Y'all remember who the Hivites were? Those were the life-giving ones, the ones of the very own household. You know, hey, they good for that. You know, and sometimes, you know, most of the time it's because of love. You know, but I sure wish they'll learn agape love and leave that phileo alone. Hosea 9:8-9 says, the watchman Ephraim was with my Elohim. And truly he is. You know, that's one of the things that Yah told us to do before he left. Watch and pray. You know, the one who does that will be with their Elohim. It says, but the prophet is a snare of a fowler in all his ways, and hatred in the house of his Elohim. They have deeply corrupted themselves as in the days of Gibeah. Therefore, he will remember their iniquity. He will visit their sins. You know, and of course, this prophet is speaking of the false prophet, who will be a snare of a fowler in all his ways, and hatred in the house of Elohim. Going to deceive the people, and the ones who he can't deceive, he's going to compel them, and the ones who he can't scare into doing right, those of us who won't worship the beast, who won't take of the image, who won't receive the mark, they're going to just kill us. You know, we're going to have to drink of the wine of the wrath of the whore's fornication. But that's okay. I'd rather drink of her cup rather than the cup of Elohim's wine of his wrath. Amen? You know, it's like Yahushua taught, you know, be not afraid of he who can kill the body, but he who can kill the body and the soul. Okay. Verse 9 says, they have deeply corrupted themselves, speaking of Israel, as in the days of Gibeah. So this is a remiss for us to go and consider Gibeah. Yeah. What happened in Gibeah? Because, you know, this is also helped get them in trouble. This is the same way that they went. This is how they corrupted themselves, as in the days of Gibeah. All right, I'm going to need some help with this one. Because the story entailed in Gibeah is quite long. So we're going to go through most of it, and then we're going to give a synopsis. All right? All right, I'm going to start us off. 19:1-4 says, and it came to pass in those days when there was no king in Israel. You know, kind of like now. You know, there's no king in Israel. There's a king in the kingdom of Elohim. Amen. You know, if Yahushua is ruling and reigning upon the throne in the kingdom of Elohim, which is within your heart, you know, it goes on and says, there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Yehudah. Now, you know, I was meditating on this, and Yah was giving me all kind of revelation, and you know, I just had to come to the conclusion it would probably take like 3 weeks to, you know, straight, at least a week straight, 7 days to to even, to really expound on this, because there's so much in this story. It's wild. So I'm just going to touch on a few things. That certain Levite is a shadow of one of the two witnesses. The concubine is a shadow of the bride. Now, that come out of, well, I shouldn't say the bride, but the body of Messiah, I say. Who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah, the house of bread of Yahudah, which, you can easily see Yahushua in that. He was the house of bread, the bread of life of Yahudah. Amen? Okay. He took him a concubine out. We're betrothed to him. And we spoke about, being betrothed, isn't the actual marriage, but if you fornicated during that time, you still could be, it was considered legally binding. So it would be, if you fornicated during that time, you could be slain, actually. They take you out and stone you according to Torah. But here it is. He took out this concubine, and she played the whore against him, and went away unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Yahudah, and was there 4 whole months. And her husband arose and went after her to speak friendly unto her, and bring her again, having his servant with him in a couple of asses. And she brought him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink and lodged there. I'm my next reader read verses 5 through 9.
And it came to pass on the 4th day, when they arose early in the morning, that he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto the son-in-law, Comfort thine heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward go your way. And they sat down and did eat and drink, both of them together. For the damsel's father had said unto the man, Be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thine heart be merry. And when the man rose up to depart, his father-in-law urged him. Therefore he lodged there again. And he arose early in the morning on the 5th day to depart. And the damsel's father said, Comfort thine heart, I pray thee. And they tarried until afternoon. They did eat both of them. When the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant with his father-in-law, the damsel's father said unto him, Behold, now the day draweth toward evening. I pray you, tarry all night. Behold, the day goeth to an end. Lodge here, and thine heart may be merry. And tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayest go home.
Next reader, verses 10 through 15.
But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed and came over against Jabez, which is Jerusalem. And there were with him 2 asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. And when they were by Jabez, the day was far spent. And the servant said unto his master, Come, I pray thee, and let us turn into this city of the Jebusites, and lodge in it. And his master said unto him, We will not turn aside hither unto the city of a stranger that is not of the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah. And he said unto his servants, Come, and let us draw near to one of these places, and lodge all night in Gilgal or in Ramah. And they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them, and they were by Gilgal which belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside hither to go in and to lodge in Gilgal. And when he went in, he sat him down in the street of the city, for there was no man there that took him into his house to lodging.
Okay. I just want to touch on a couple of things. First of all, it says when they were by Jebus, this is the city of the Jebusites. I can give us a timeline. Jebusites meaning the threshing floor, speaks of harvest time. The harvest time comes at the end of Yah's plan. And said, we're not going to turn aside hither into a city of a stranger. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to make sure we turn into some place of the children of Israel, either Gibeah or Ramah. Both of these cities mean hill, So you can see within that he was looking to the hills from which should have came his help, But when he got there, verse 15 says, for there was no man that took him into his house for lodging. So the place where he should have got help, we see he's not getting any help. But then verses 16 through 20.